Good morning. Okay. Students, am I audible? Yes? Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone, once again. Now let's start with the chapter number 19, which we have started yesterday. Majority of the things we have done, right? Sustainability audit, ESG rating, emerging mandates from the government and regulators. That what is sustainability audit, what is ESG rating, different ESG platforms we have discussed, right? Then how they give the scores. I hope you have revised and come. Yes. Okay, quickly we'll go through. We started with sustainability, right? Sustainability means what? Going to last for the longer period. Sustainability development means what? Development that meets the needs of present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. That means we have to take care of the future generation also. Whatever resources we are using, use it in that way that okay, we are leaving it for future generation. Sustainable use it properly, right? Now here obviously three we will be focusing on three things: ESG, environmental, social, economic, and governance. Money is obviously important. We are doing business, right? You have to take care of the society as well. You have to take care of environment as well. Done. Ma'am, what do you mean by business sustainability? Simple. Conducting day-to-day operations, conducting business in such a manner. Basically means same. That meets the existing needs without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet its demand. That is known as business sustainability. Then sustainability reporting. That also we have discussed. That sustainability reporting means what? Reporting on this sustainability. That you have to report that okay, what the company is doing for the sustainability, how the company is sustainable. So whatever reporting we do, that is known as sustainability reporting. Done. Then we did audit. Sustainability audit means what? Evaluation, assessment, analysis, right? To review what organizations, environmental, social, economic impacts, right? To identify the areas of improvement, minimize the negative effect on the environment. So that is known as sustainability audit, right? So when the sustainability audit is done, the areas of improvements are also recommended. Done. Then triple bottom line assessment also we have discussed. Triple bottom line assessment means what? The three things we have to discuss: environment, social, and economic, right? Assessment of all these three is known as triple bottom line. And as an auditor, that will be your work if you are appointed as a sustainability audit. Then why? Because at the end we have to we are answerable to the stakeholders. Their expectations are there. Nowadays, they are expecting more ESG. shareholders also invest looking at the ESG, right? So the transparency is maintained, accountability is maintained. That is why ESG audit, sustainability audit is important. So that stakeholders can read and they can take the decisions accordingly. Done. Yes. Then one point we have discussed is this also, that when an activity will be considered that yes, it is sustainable or a business is sustainable. First of all, of course, you're doing business for earning profits. So economic value should be there. Not your personal, but stakeholders. So you have to maximize the wealth of stakeholders. Then socially justified, acceptable by the society, environmentally sound, ethically conducted, and laws and regulations are followed. If all these things are there, then yes, we can say that okay, the sustainability is there. The program or activity or the business is sustainable. Then this we have discussed already. Then we did framework of sustainability audit, and same answer was there for the process as well. That what is the process of sustainability audit, right? So when sustainability audit framework or process is asked, first of all, of course, you have to write introduction and then you will continue. Okay, what are the steps? Simple steps are there. First of all, you will be planning and preparation. That means understanding the scope, understanding the objectives of the audit. That what is the purpose of audit? What is included in the audit? What areas you are going to do audit and what areas is not in your scope. So identify that, right? And prepare a plan accordingly. Now we are prepared. Now for doing audit, we need data. So collect all the data and analyze. Review the data. Assessment and evaluation. Whatever data you have collected, assess that. See whether whatever benchmark is set by the organization, it meets the benchmark or not. Right? So assess that. Based on your audit, you will generate your report, whatever you found out in the audit, right? And of course, you will give the recommendations for improvement as well. Now, we will see that whether the improvement, whatever recommendations you have given, whether that is implemented or not by the organization. Any actions are taken on that or not, right? And if yes, up to what level the actions are taken. What is the impact after taking these actions? You will monitor this, right? And then lastly, reporting and communicating. You will report to the stakeholders, whoever is required. You will communicate to them. So simple framework is there. Same, the process is also the same thing. Yes. Then we discussed audit report. You have done the sustainability audit. Now we have to prepare the report, right? So how report we are going to prepare? Ma'am will prepare the report in such a manner so that the users, the stakeholders, the shareholders, they understand. Because that is the main purpose. If users are not able to understand, what is the use of this audit report, right? So what things will be included? Executive summary means what? A summarized of entire audit report. The overall, what is your review, right? What is the purpose of audit? What are the key findings, important things? What main recommendations you give? A summarized version. Then background. In background, give information about the organization. What is the target? What are the ESG goals of the organization? What are the scope of your audit? So all this background you will give. Methodology. What method you have used to conduct the audit, to collect the data, from where you have collected the data, right? What tools and techniques you have used. Then key findings means important whatever you have found out. That all because stakeholders should know, right? That how the company have performed, whether company is focusing on ESG or not, sustainability performance or not. So key findings. Then what recommendation, what advices you have given related to the sustainability to the organization, right? Then implementation plan. So whatever recommendations you have given, what is the plan for that? And whether that plan is being followed by the organization or not, right? And lastly, the conclusion. That okay, at the end, what do you conclude? That how the organization is, true and fair is there or not, all these things you will give the conclusion, right? So all these elements should be there in your audit report when you prepare. Summary, background, executive summary, background, methodology, key findings are there, recommendations, then implementation, and finally conclusion. Done. So this we have done. Then audit standards on sustainability. Different guidelines are given, different standards were given, right? GRI, Global Reporting Initiative. They have also talked about sustainability. They focused on measure, report, and approach, right? To measure, how will you measure and report on the sustainability performance? What is your approach towards it? Whether that approach is consistently followed or not. Then ISO 26000. Okay, you will report later on, but first collect the data, right? You have to maintain the data. Maintain, and how will you improve? So that is your ISO 26000. How to implement, how will you implement your practices? Then next is sustainability assessment standards, that what approach you are following for the ESG, what organization is following. So these are the guidelines given. Now, importance of sustainability audit varies. Importance, need, advantage, whatever you say, right? So areas of improvement you will come to know. Your reputation will increase, brand image, right? That will increase. It will demonstrate your commitment towards the sustainability. Shareholders or stakeholders will be easily able to take the decision looking at the sustainability. Areas of improvement you will come to know, that what are the important risks, that also you will come to know. In ESG, what are the risks, how will you mitigate the risk? It will help you in if sustainability audit is done, right? It will help you. Then what are the benchmarks, how will you reach the benchmark? So all these are the importance of sustainability audit, that it will help you in all these things. So importance, need, everything is same. So first part that was done. Then we started with ESG rating. ESG rating, environmental, social, and governance rating, basically a score, right? A score is given to the organizations. ESG rating platforms are there, different organizations are there, right? Can anybody tell me any one of the platform of ESG rating? Yesterday we have done. Yes, anyone? Yes, okay, MSCI ESG rating, yes, right? So different rating platforms we have discussed. So what is the main purpose here for ESG rating? To give the scores, Dune and Bradstreet, not sheet, right? So different rating platforms, they will give the ratings, they will give the score, based on which investors can easily compare also. They can identify that, okay, which company is doing what ESG, it is focusing on what work, right? It will create a value for the stakeholders as well. So that we have done. What do you mean by ESG rating? What are the criteria for ESG? Of course, we know three: environmental, social, and governance. Environmental, we will look at air and water quality, biodiversity, deforestation is there, plantations are there, right? Climate changes are there. So, green gas emission is there, carbon emissions are there. So, all these things will go in the environment, right? So, you have to focus on that. On these criteria, ratings will be given. Social, that means basically society, human. Take care of the human also. We have to take care of them. So, customer satisfaction, data protection, employee protection, whether their human rights are protected or not, right? How you are treating whether you're doing anything good for the society, for the poor people, all this will come in the social. Then next is governance, internal system of the company, right? What are the board structure, board practices, whether board composition, independent, non-independent, in what practices board are involved, right? Different committees have been made or not, whether that committee is functioning or not. So all these are the governance practices. Done. So based on all these criterias, ESG ratings are given. Okay. What is KPI? If anybody remember? key performance indicators, that what indicators, different indicators are there, on that basis scores will be given, and then aggregate of that scores will be considered, right? So this we have done. So what is ESG rating, that also already we have understood. KPIs, key performance indicators, they are nothing but the traceable figures to help understand the ESG factors, ESG impact on the business operations on the day-to-day basis, right? It will help you in that to understand the funds properly, how the impact is there, how much is invested in ESG, how it is impacting. So all these are the KPI indicators. Done. Then this also we have discussed SEBI. SEBI in 2023, SEBI came, say what SEBI said. First of all, SEBI have replaced BRR from the BRSR, right? And top 1000 listed entities based on market capitalization, for them, it made it mandatory that in your annual report, you will include BRSR as well. Business responsibility and sustainability report. That also, in what format? As may be specified, right? Whatever the specifications are given, that format you are going to follow. But top 1000 listed entities based on market capitalization, for them it is meant. Say we have told that yes, you have to include BRSR. And slowly and gradually, right now it is top 1000, then it will become 2000. So slowly and gradually, SEBI will include everybody. Okay, yes. BRSR core approach. ESG Advisory Committee of SEBI adopted the following approach. What approach? Three things are there, ma'am, right? That it should be when KPIs are made, on what basis the KPIs will be made. First it should be quantifiable. Figures are there, then only you will be easily able to compare, right? Compatibility will become easy. Then such factors were included which are relevant for both manufacturing sector as well service sector. Separately we don't need. Then intensity ratio. Intensity ratio means those ratios for which we can compare any size of the organization, any size of the company, small size or big size, any size you can easily compare, right? So that is your intensity. Done. Yes. First of all, why this BRSR core came? What was the problem before? Can anyone tell me? Yesterday I made it right also. There is no scope of sustainability before. There was no scope. That is why instead of BRR, BRSR came, right? Yes. But another reason for this BRSR core, the three factors which were included. Why? Yes, assurance. Problem was, if limited assurance we give, then the problem is cost is effective, but more trust will not be developed. If we give reasonable assurance, trust will be developed, but then it will become very costly. So we want some in midway, correct? So that is why this BRSR core has been developed, for which KPIs are developed. That if on what indicators we will give the scorings, so that more trust is developed in the stakeholders. So we have seen different KPIs also yesterday related to the environment, social, and this your governance. Done. Now different platforms we have discussed. Dune and Bradstreet. Yes, first we started with Dune and Bradstreet. What is it? It is a data provider, analysis provider. It gives insights of the company. What are the companies performing? What are the trends? What are the ESG factors? On what is the ESG what level of ESG scores are given to the company? Also, it helps the organization for the improvement as well, right? It prepares a report, and report is focused on, of course, ESG, right? And industry specific tailored. That means based on different industries, whatever requirements are there, according to that, it is tailored. Done. Then Sustainalytics is ESG risk rating. First of all, it is a subsidiary of Morningstar. Morningstar is a company, one of the largest company for what? Stock market data. It have the stock market data. It is a data stock market data provider. So Sustainalytics is the subsidiary of that. What it provides? Ma'am, obviously it provides the ESG rating. It gives the data because parent company also have the data, right? So it gives the ratings of the 2000 companies and 172 countries till now. Then measures the ESG performance. Based on the performance, ratings will be given. Ratings on what? Be considering both the factors, quantity and quality. Both the factors will be considered. Then we have started with MSCI ESG ratings, created by MSCI Research. Again, released for 14,000 different equity and fixed income issuers. Okay, 4 questions it answers. What are the first question? ESG risk and opportunities. How your company is exposed to that risk and opportunities. How you have managed those risk and opportunity. And what is the overall assessment of how your company have managed all these things. So that will be answered. Based on that, scores will be given. So scores will be 0 to 10 and ratings will be 888 to CCC, whatever, right? For every company. Then again, different 3 pillars are there: environmental, social, governance. Basically, this on these factors, they will give the ratings. And same was for Bloomberg as well. Bloomberg is also what? A data system, correct? It is also going to measure the ESG scores based on the pillars, these 3 pillars. Pillars remains the same, ESG. Done. So till this much we have done yesterday. Till any doubts, any queries, anything? Then all the small we have done. Different institutions are there. Yes, till now any doubts, any queries? No? Okay. So let's move ahead now. What are the advantages of ESG rating? Ma'am, already we have discussed the advantages. Fine, let's again discuss. If your ESG rating is good, right? Good for the company. More the ESG scores, better for the company, right? Because ESG rating will help you, first of all, it gives recommendations also. That means timely you can do the improvements, right? You will have the competitive advantage. Competitive advantage means what? Advantage over the competitors. Customers will have trust on you more as compared to the competitor, right? So you are one step ahead of the competitor if your scores are good as compared to the competitor, or if competitor's ESG rating is not there only, your ESG rating is there, that will also affect, right? So you'll get a competitive advantage in the market. Customers will come to you. Investors of course they will invest, because nowadays ESG investors do consider ESG, right? Suppliers, customers, whoever is there, they will have a more trust. That means you can get more credit period also. Your supplier can give more credit period, right? You can get a discount properly on the raw materials. So so all these factors you can get. That means cost effective. Of course, for ESG ratings, will have to make a payment. You will have to pay the fees, of course. But then benefits are also there. So many benefits are there. Then employees will also retain, because what ESG says, social means taking care of the employees as well, right? You take care of the human rights, employees as well. So employees are also happy. They will also come in your company. They will also stay in your company, right? So plus no harm to the environment also. So all these are the advantages if the ESG ratings are there. See, so many advantages are there. Competitive advantage, right? You can anyway write it down yourself also. Then cost reduction, more attractive to the lenders and investors. Supply chain prospects, attraction and retention of the talent, that means employees. Promote companies' growth and improves financial performance. Raises corporate transparency. We have already discussed that. Yes, transparency and accountability will be there. Improvements will be there. That means easily you can manage the risk. Promote stakeholders engagement, improves communication with the stakeholders. So all these are the advantages for the ESG rating. Done? So that is given here. Okay. Having an ESG program in place helps boost brand recognition. Already we have discussed this. Even promote brand loyalty, right? So if you have the ESG program in place. Plus today's consumers and clients, they are all, awareness is increased among them about this ethical spending, taking care of the ESG, right? That what company is doing, because at the end money is of your shareholders. Consumers are paying for the products. So they are also aware, right? That you are not harming the environment, harming the society. So if your ESG rating is good, you will get the competitive advantage as compared to others, right? Cost reduction already we have discussed, because ESG, environmental, social, that means you are not wasting anything. You are using the resources in an optimal way, right? Or recycling the waste. Water consumption is limited, energy consumption is limited, right? So basically your cost will be saved, then cost reduction will happen, right? Plus you are using to the best as much as possible. So efficient and effectively all the resources will be used. And if you are using all the resources properly, by default penalties, fines will not be there. Everything you have done properly, right? So less exposure to fines and penalties. If everything is done properly, government will not charge any fine. More attractive to lenders and investors. You will get loan easily. Investors will also have a trust on you. So investors will also invest in your company, right? Then supply chain prospects. Just like investors, entire supply chain is there. Manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, right? Customers are there. In between, so many people are there. So they will also supply to that company only who is into ESG, because nowadays awareness is there, right? So because of that, you will get an upper hand, you will get a benefit. Then attention and retention of talent, we have discussed that employees will come to you, employees will be attracted, because they are not just looking for the payment. Job satisfaction should also be there. Their human rights should be protected. They should be respected as well, right? They should have a growth also. So nowadays people see this also, not just the money, correct? So that is your attraction and retention. So if you are taking care of the employees also, they will retain in your company, of course. Then promote company's growth and improves financial performance. Just now we have discussed. If cost is reduced, by default, financial performance will improve. Right? That is, cost is reducing, that means profit was increasing. So company will grow. And in the long run, company will sustain as well. If your ESG ratings are good. If you are implemented the ESG programs. Then raises transparency, because we have to give so many disclosures. Everything we have to write it down and disclose it. We prepared the sustainability report. BRSR report is there, right? So because of that, transparency is there. Everything is crystal clear. So that means less chances of frauds, less chances of errors. Time to time you're getting audit also done, sustainability audit. So if any errors or frauds are there, it will be identified at early stage itself, right? So risk will be managed properly, because if you know the risk beforehand, you can take actions, right? So proper management, you can mitigate the risk. Of course, 100% we cannot eliminate, but at least we can reduce it, we can mitigate so that we suffer less loss, that we can do, right? So risk management will be better. Stakeholder engagement, stakeholders will also be involved. They will also feel that yes, they are part of the organization if you're giving importance to stakeholders as well, correct? Improves communication with the stakeholder because these reports are given, all the disclosures are given, so communication becomes easier. Done. So that finishes your part B as well. Part A, sustainability. Then we discussed ESG rating, right? Now different regulators we are going to see. That in India, who is regulating all these things? Okay, done. Now, as soon as the company word comes, MCA will always be there. Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They decide, they take the decisions for the companies also, right? So, ESG reporting commenced in 2009 and MCA issuing the voluntary guidelines on CSR. When we have done CSR, that time also I have discussed that CSR guidelines are given, that how much you have to invest, in which activities you have to invest, but still that was a voluntary. It was not made mandatory, right? And in India, we know, unless and until it is mandatory, we don't do only. Then slowly and gradually, it was made mandatory. That yes, you have to invest in your CSR also. Because voluntarily, you are not going to do. We have understood this. Right? So, mandatory. Done. Then BRR report already, this also we have discussed. So different types of reports were there. BRR report, CSR report, NGRBC. This also in detail we are going to study in the next chapter. Chapter number 20, all the details about this are there. National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct, CSR, BRR, all these are there in your chapter number 20. Right? And BRSR already we have discussed in this chapter itself. Business Responsibility and Sustainable Report. So this different report came. That is how the development came. That nowadays ESG is also important. This concept have started, right? Then in 2013, Companies Act 2013 came. It made that yes, you have to give ESG disclosures, compulsory. So disclosure requirements, it made it. Now if it is compulsory, everybody will have to follow, right? So section 134 had mandated companies. Mandate means compulsory, right? That you have to report. Along with your annual report, you have to report on all these ESG factors as well. So you don't have any choice. You will have to give a report. Then in the rules, it was given that the board of directors have to provide information regarding conservation of energy. So in 2013 Act, Companies Act 2013, all these provisions were included. This rule number you don't need to remember. Don't worry. Then plus for any organization to implement ESG factors, who is responsible? Whose duty? Is it shareholders' duties, stakeholders' duties, directors, auditors? Whose duty to implement the ESG? Board of directors' duty, right? It is the primary duty. Statutory auditors will come, sustainability auditor, statutory auditor, they will come and check. They will give the recommendations. Primary duty is yours only, right? You have to take care of ESG, environmental, social, human employees, shareholders, customers, that you work for the best interest of them, right? Remember, we have done that you have to act in good faith. You don't have to see your personal benefits. You have to work for the benefits of stakeholders. So that is given here. It is the duty of director to act in good faith. Then Companies Act have given that yes, you have to disclose. SEBI also said the same thing, that along in your annual report you have to disclose all these things. What are the opportunities, threats, all these things you have to disclose. So SEBI LODR also included that ESG factors you will have to disclose. What are the opportunities, threats, risk, what are the concerns, how it is going to impact the organization. So SEBI said disclose. And SEBI is applicable on which companies? Listed companies, right? Companies that covered all the companies based on criteria, based on conditions. SEBI said that all the listed company you have to do this, right? Done. Yes. Directly come here. That SEBI introduced the requirement of ESG reporting back in 2012. SEBI also introduced, right? And top 100 companies, they were made to file BRR, Business Responsibility Report. Then later on, 100 became top 500. Now what is the situation? Now BRR is replaced by BRSR, and top how many companies? Top 1,000 companies now based on market capitalization, right? That means slowly and gradually SEBI is trying to include every companies. And now also again changes will come, again amendments will come. Instead of 1,000 it will become 2,000 and so on. So what is the target? That yes, we want to include everybody. That everybody you have to take care of the ESG factors. Then okay, all these points not required. Direct BRSR is required, which already we have done, right? Plus BRSR is there in your chapter 19, plus it is there in your chapter number 20 also. Same BRSR report, we have NGBRC, that also we are going to do in chapter number 20. That what are the different types of reporting related to this ESG. That is your chapter number 20. So that will be covered up there itself. This already we have discussed, top 100, top 1,000 companies you have to disclose. Now for this, what you will do, appoint a chief sustainability executive. Just like in all the companies, we have CEO, CFO, CO, CTO, right? Related to technology, executions, different people are there. If finance related is there, CFO will be there. Similarly, related to the sustainability also, we want a head who can look upon it, right? So appoint chief sustainable executive, chief sustainability executive. Appoint that person. He will take the responsibility. Of course, he will also have an entire team. That officer is going to take care. He will make the plans. He will give suggestions. He will communicate, right? And his team is going to work. Okay. The initial impact of these regulatory changes will result in company making more of a cross-functional effort to understand what needs to happen internally to meet, because so many requirements are there nowadays. That means company also will have to take more action. And who will be responsible? So better appoint one officer only, chief sustainability executive officer, right? So this will require business to build out the teams. So entire team, sustainability related teams will be there, because so many roles and responsibilities will be there, right? So make a separate team. So chief sustainability officers will be critical for what? Related to the ESG matters. In influencing, communicating and cutting through organizational complexity to allow the company to deliver ESG commitment so that you can fulfill your ESG commitment. So who will take care? Chief Sustainability Officer. Yes, many employees will be slow to adopt the new policies. This is there for every organization. Whenever new policies comes, it is not easily acceptable by the employees. It takes time for them. You have to explain them what is the importance of the new policy, how it will be better for the organization. You have to convince them, right? Slowly and gradually, employees will adopt the new policy. Suddenly, for example, let us say your basic example. Let us say your job timings are 9 to 5. But now the policy have been changed. Now your job timings will be 9 to 8 o'clock. So employees will not be happy. They will not adapt it. Slowly and gradually, you will have to make them adopt, right? That instead of 9 to 5, you made it 9 to 5:30 initially. Then increased half an hour, 6 o'clock. Then 6:30 and so on, whatever. So employees will easily accept that because they had that mindset is slowly and gradually changing. Same thing here also. That first of all, employees don't understand this ESG. You have to make them understand, right? Then only they will be able to accept it and work accordingly. You have to make them understand the importance of that. Okay, why not to waste resources? Use resources optimally. Correct? So many employees will be slow to adopt, but slowly and gradually they have to change. So who will take care of this? Giving them trainings, seminars, right? Giving information, communication, taking care of all this. Who will do that? Chief Sustainability Officer. He will make all these efforts. Done? So that is the Chief Sustainability Officer's work, to take care of everything related to the sustainability. Then ESG policy budget. You require money also. Entire team you want to create, right? Sustainability team. For that we require fund also, right? So new ESG regulation will require organization to hire people. And when you are hiring people, you have to give them salaries also, right? So make a budget, plan a budget. Then, and who will make this? Sustainability officer is there along with CFO, Chief Financial Officer. His work, he is expert in that, finances. So he will do this work. CFO. That how much, what is the sustainability policies, from where the funds will be arranged, right? How much, where we can cut down. So all these things CFO will take care. Then justifying the spending may take some convincing, yet many of the changes could potentially save money also. Many changes that right now you are spending a lot, but in future you will get benefit. That also happens, right? Example, extending the life of IT assets will result in what? Purchasing less laptops, less computers, because the whatever existing is there, that only you have extended, right? So that is how you can save the money. So CFO along with the Chief Sustainability Officer, he will take care of this. Then next, assess partner sustainability practices. Partner sustainability practices means what? That just because you are following ESG, that alone will not help. Well, who are your partners? Your entire chain, they should also be involved in ESG, right? For example, let us say I am the wholesaler. I am not involved in deforestation, but my manufacturer, he is involved in deforestation. That means I'm not helping towards sustainability, right? My partners, My manufacturer is there, my supplier is there, my retailer is there. They should also be have their sustainability practices, right? So that is known as partners. That I alone just think is not enough. So that is given here. That there is a clear mandate for carbon footprint reduction in new regulation, that okay, carbon emissions should be less. As companies calculate and seek to reduce their carbon footprint, I am trying to reduce as much as possible. But along with me, my partners should also do that. Right? They are also working sustainability, then only it will survive. So they will also need to assess their supply chain in detail. I need to check my supply chain so that I ensure that yes, my partners are doing sustainable work. Right? Otherwise, what is the use? Because if I am not involved, my manufacturer is involved. So more or less, it will impact my organization. That means I am also contributing towards the environment harming. So to stop that, please assess your supply chain. The carbon footprint of all company partners will be impacted by the footprint of those partners. And it will be important that these partners are taking steps. They are also taking steps on their own, that they are also reducing. Then only it will help. If, for example, if my manufacturer is not reducing, I may change the manufacturer also. Right? I will opt for that manufacturer who is not harming the environment, who is taking care of the environment, who is taking care of the society. I will appoint that manufacturer now. I will take materials from that person, right? So for that, you need to access, analyze it. Okay, this is just a last conclusion given, that everybody will have to be involved. Then only it will happen, otherwise it won't happen. Okay. Done? So that finished your entire chapter number 19. Any doubts, any queries in this chapter? Chapter is important. This is your part C, chapter number 19. Part C, chapter 19 and 20 carry 15 marks total. Any doubt, just go through the chapter. You have the notes anyway. Go through it once if you have any doubts, any queries anywhere. Done? Any doubts, any queries, anything in this chapter? Notes, summary notes, everything is given to you. Risk management questions have been sent. Yes, okay. And chapter 10 notes also. Yes or no? Can we completely, just a second, can we completely ignore the topics which is not covered in the class? Like examples of ESG regulations given for different countries. Yes, I have already told you that whatever the regulations are there, yes, you have to read it once. That's it. Remaining you can ignore whatever is given, because already those things are not important, because so many countries regulations are more or less they are saying the same things. But yes, please do read it once at least. Then different case studies are given, right? That is for the understandings. The case studies are given, which yesterday also we have discussed. So that is for the understanding purposes, right? And case study, if it is asked, obviously in exam the same case study is anyway not going to be asked.